Hello everyone, KR Kito here, and I just came back from watching the movie Gatchaman, the live action movie. Um, I have mixed feelings about this movie, and I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it. This movie will contain some spoilers, so if you're not ready to watch it or you don't care, you want to listen, by all means go ahead. So, Gatchaman, the live action movie, I think it's for their 40-year anniversary, since Gatchaman was released in 1972, if I'm not wrong. So basically, this movie is like an origin story of how the Gatchaman team came about. Because in the original Gatchaman series, they never actually have an explanation of where they came from or how their powers manifested. So in this one, they actually gave some backstory, and they say that in I think when the first opening scene was in 2015 Europe. So they discovered that this particular stone, they call it G stone, that were given to a certain person, they will give superpowers, and there is an anti-version of it which is called the Virus X, which turned people into Galacta, which is the main antagonist group in this movie, which is also the same name used in the original series. So the first scene was actually Europe was totally destroyed by Galacta, and our main character Ken, he was a little boy when he saw Bellcaster, but he managed to escape with his G stone. And then we move forward to 13 years later in Tokyo. No, not Tokyo, in Shinjuku. So what happened was the Gatchamans were already formed, and somehow Galacta want to attack this science conference in one of the buildings in Shinjuku. So they rip off I think they rip off Battleship and Avengers. That in that opening scene, in this scene, where you see this big round circular thing rolling through the city, just like the Battleships movie. And then you see all the Galactus soldiers. The soldiers were not like the original TV series, where they were just wearing a mask. This one, they're all wearing gas masks and are moving like robots. So it's a more realistic take on it. Then you see the Gatchamans, our 5 main heroes, who basically beat the crap out of them. They only managed to kill one of the generals. 2 of the generals escaped. We'll talk about that later. But you get to see the Gatchamans using their trademark weapons, like Ken using his butter ram, Joe using his feather shuriken, Jun using the yo-yo, and Junpei using some kind of like circular rope thing with 2, I don't know what they call it, and just throw at people. And Ryo just basically just pound his way through, just like the original series. The opening action scenes, I was impressed. I mean, this was done almost close to the special effects was like close to the Avengers, how they did the Avengers, and it was good. It was good. There was also an Easter egg in one of the particular in one of the scenes where Ken was fighting one of the generals, and they crash into a toy store, and that toy store contains a lot of Taskuno's production toys, characters, figures all over the place. People might not know it, but being a fan of the original series, I can recognize some of the characters Taskuno has done. So we cut back. So after that, we get explanation of where the Gatchaman headquarters are. The main leader, Nambu Hakase, he's the mentor who guides them, and you also get to see that Gatchaman is actually it's not just the 5 of them and Nambu Hakase, and there's actually quite a big staff in this whole headquarters of theirs. The only thing I was a bit surprised that the suit they're wearing, it's not like manifest out of nowhere. It's actually power suits that which they have medical staff, mechanic staff, always keep maintenance of the suit. So it's not like the old series where they just call out from nowhere, like morphing time, like Power Rangers morphing time, that kind of idea. So yeah, it's a bit more realistic take on it. Then we get to probably the part that I really didn't like about this movie, which is the second act, with basically Ken and Joe backstory. Apparently, in this version, Ken and Joe were actually from the Europe ISO headquarters, and somehow they fell in love with a woman, Naomi, who got killed, and because Ken disobeyed orders and caused Naomi's death. That's why Joe didn't was have some hatred against him, some friction about it. I'll say it was okay, because in the original series, Ken and Joe don't get along very well. Mostly because Ken is always by the book, and Joe is always the badass who always a lone wolf who always go do his own way, which Ken sometimes just dislike it. But that was then, and I felt back then that kind of rivalry was kind of a little bit it was a bit shallow. So now this one, they actually give some reason why Ken and Joe hated each other. June was fine. She wasn't really the damsel in distress I was expecting in like the original series. June, she was much more of a more kind of a more witty person, and she's not afraid to say that she liked Ken a lot. And there's a joke that which even in the old Gatchaman, they actually make a Easter egg, is that June in the original series, she doesn't know how to cook, and in this version, yeah, she still admits saying that I will cook for you, Ken, but unfortunately, Jinpei, her brother, make fun of him, saying that, hey, you can't cook. So that was an inside joke in the Gatchaman series. Jinpei was playing the tech nerd who fiddle around with computers and all stuff. So, and he always make up their special powers, their powers along the way, which irritated Ryu, the big guy. Ryu was actually, I find Ryu was the most look like the original series, happy-go-lucky. Always there's this little friendly rivalry between he and Jinpei. So it's yeah, that was in the original series also. So what else can I talk about? Okay, we have some reason. There was this scientist, Dr. Kerman. He was actually creating this satellite cannon that's supposed to be powered by G-Stone, and he plans to want to use it on to take down the Galactus who are occupying Europe. Fortunately, Number Hagasen was against it, but Number Hagasen gave the Gatchamans a new mission, is to protect Galactus number 2 man, this guy called Ilya. Unfortunately, Ken and Joe have some friction about it, because Ilya was the guy who killed the girl that they love, Naomi, the girl which they loved 5 years ago. So basically, what happened is they had this scene where Ken and June disguised as party guests, and they met Ilya. But unfortunately, something happened. Joe beat them to it, and he wants to kill Ilya. Unfortunately, Ken stopped him from doing it. That was that. And then we get the Ilya was he's in a detention cell and start mocking everyone. Like, this is like virtually they trying to do a Dark Knight interrogation kind of thing, but it wasn't that impressive to me lah. Even though he taunted Dr. Kurtman and telling him, I killed your wife, so you better and I know what your plan is, and And then we found that Ilya actually, it was all a trap, because Ilya, he wants to he purposely get arrested so that he can capture Dr. Kerman, which he did. He did, and he escaped with Dr. Kerman, and Joe managed to find him. And here's a plot twist. Ilya was there was no such Ilya wasn't real. This Ilya was actually Naomi in disguise. Yeah, he suddenly changed from a big muscular person, changed to a woman. I was like, what the heck was that? But it makes sense. She said that, oh, I have this ability I can change myself. And we actually found out that Naomi is now the new Bill Catster, and she, as usual, she want to take over the world. And she, in this version, she actually want to make Joe to be the new Bill Catster. So she infected him with the X virus, and Joe is struggling to not to succumb to the virus. Then after that, Bill Catster escaped with Dr. Kerman. So, and they are planning to use the satellite cannon to destroy all the cities. So Gatchaman has to go and save the day. Unfortunately, before they go out, there was this scene where because before that, Ilya, aka Bill Catster, or Naomi, whatever you want to call it, he knocked out Jinpei and tied him into the same detention cell, which was covering in. It was showering down some kind of nitrogen that's freezing him. So Ken wants to stop. Ken went to go and stop, try to go after Ilya, and left Jinpei to die. And lucky Real was nearby. Real will actually pull him out in time. And then when they were about to go on the mission, Real asked Ken, why did you go and why did you abandon Jinpei and go after Ilya? And Ken is saying his usual, oh, it's my mission, it's my order, and they start arguing a bit. But then everybody start saying, no, Ken, you're being too bit stubborn and you shouldn't be doing that. And Joe suddenly appears and say, hey, I'll go and handle this. This is my deal. But instead, Namor says, since all you five of you are so stubborn, why don't you all five just go and save the day? It was kind of silly and hilarious. And we finally get to see Dr. Phoenix. I like the classic Dr. Phoenix in the past. Apparently the Dr. Phoenix they use is the 94 OVA version. The only thing is, I think they forgot to do the paint job. It was totally grey. It wasn't the blue and red Dr. Phoenix that we all know. Even the cockpit itself is more like a bit like 360 degrees viewing scope instead of the usual panel thing they have in the series. So they went and they found Galactus Space, which was hiding in the ocean, and they tried to stop. So they crash into the Galactus Space and start being the villains. Joe took upon himself and go and find Bill Catster, and he did. And somehow he got into a fight with Bill Catster, aka Naomi, if you want to call it. And they suffer a fight, and Ken also joined in, and he was shocked to find out that Bill Catster is Naomi, but he was so determined to complete the shit that he just don't care about it. But he was a bit hesitated. Then Jinpei managed to disable the satellite cannon from targeting the cities. Unfortunately, Dr. Kerman killed himself, and so there's no way to stop the last target, which is Tokyo. And they only have 10 minutes left before the satellite cannon fire at Tokyo. So in the final scene, Ken finally can recall something in his childhood days, where he Joe and Naomi when they were kids. They say that if any one of us get infected by the X virus, please kill me, which Ken did. He did kill Naomi, and Joe was actually infected with the X virus. He was turning into the new Belcastier, but then somehow actually the Gatchamans, they're all power with they have a watch that contains the stone that actually gives them powers, and it's the only thing that's suppressing the X virus. So Joe actually turned back to normal, and then finally say, "Oh, what are we gonna do?" And the whole Galactic base, which is the floating fortress, flew up into the satellite cannon into the orbit. So it's planning to crash into the satellite cannon. But the problem is now they had to escape, and they all went back. All of them went back to the Quantum Phoenix, and somehow they couldn't get out. It was like, oh my god! And even Real make a silly remark, say, "I told you we should test the jet before we go out." And then Ken suddenly has the idea, just fire the bird missiles, and hopefully that when we crash, we're able to break free. And true enough, we get the Firebird attack from the Gatchaman, from the Quantum Phoenix, which it did become a Firebird, and they managed to escape, and the satellite kind of got blown up, and that's it. They saved the day. So I was a bit surprised about the end, because I was thinking that, well, if you have watched the original Gatchaman series, their Japanese version, Joe actually died in the first season, and he came back as a cyborg in the second season. So I was expecting to have the similar part, but instead, no. Ken said, "No, you're not gonna die on me. I'm gonna bring everybody back," which he did, and sure enough, all five made it in time. That was reasonable. So what is the problem with this show? The problem with this show is the opening sequence was awesome. I really loved the first opening sequence. The second act was the one that actually pulled everything down. There were a lot of dialogue, a lot of flashbacks, too many flashbacks that I kind of get irritated. But even though it's relevant, a lot of things, especially the Ken and Joe flashbacks, they were all very relevant. But like Junpei and Ryu, they weren't really much of a part of the main plot. So it was really unnecessary about it. What I can now say, I would say the best part, the fighting scene in the end was kind of like really cluster fighting. I don't really like that. That's the kind of fighting where the camera was actually moving so close to it. Everything is shot in so dark. They were fighting inside a cave, so the fortress inside the cave everything so dark. So I couldn't really see what was going on. And I think a lot of people complain about the suit also. The suit wasn't it's more like an Iron Man type of suit rather than the traditional spandex suits, which I felt a spandex suit wouldn't make any sense either if they were wearing that. And somehow, if you want a realistic take on Gatchaman, this will be realistic. It's a power suit thing, which, okay, fair enough. What else can I say? I couldn't say much about it. If you want to watch this, if you are a fan of the original series, you like the Easter eggs, some of the Easter eggs they did in this movie. The actors are okay. I would say quite close to how the original series will be. People who don't like it, I think, are people who have never heard of Gatchaman, and they think it's pretty boring, and because it rip off probably Avengers and Battleship and a lot of other action movies. And Japanese movies are pretty quite they are very famous for doing a lot of dialogues in their movies, so you have to understand that it's different from Hollywood. It's not like Hollywood where they actually can speed up things. This was actually takes its time actually to be Gatchaman. But only thing I disappointed was that there are only two major scenes where the Gatchaman fight in their power suits. The rest of the time they were all in their civilian form. I would say it was the most mediocre. I will probably will get this show probably on DVD or Blu-ray, but just for the fact that it is Gatchaman, and I'm pretty much enjoy it as a fan. But if you want something a little more serious or more fun to watch, you might as well go back and watch the original series, which I highly recommend it. So I think that's my 2 cents about it. Thanks for listening to my review about it. It's actually more of a spoiler. Well, until then, I'll catch you later.